jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back
Yo, big shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game. I need to do a mic check. Can y'all hear me in the chat? If you can hear me in the chat, can you just put a Y in there? Because somehow I didn't hear my intro. If y'all can hear me in the chat, can you put a Y in there? Hold on for a second. Okay, cool. Yo, big shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game. A-side official. No negotiations needed, period. You already know WCS the first in the building. Big shout out to Tough Glove Boxing with the $5 super chat to start off the evening. Much appreciated, my brother. Thanks for pulling up and supporting the channel. And definitely, those of you that's tuned in to WCS, be sure to go over there and check out Tough Glove Boxing. Very intellectually inclined brother. You know what I'm saying? A man in multi talents. You know what I'm saying? And boxing happens to be one of them. And yeah, man, go check him out. Support the brother. You know what I'm saying? And be consistent, if anything. You know what I'm saying? Be consistent. And hey, Tough Glove, don't think I ain't see you over there flexing today. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the guys, the older cats like myself, Tough Glove and everybody. Tough Glove was over there in a vest for y'all. He was over there saying, I ain't got nothing to hide. I feel confident in myself. You know what I'm saying? He supports salubrity. If you don't know what that means healthy way, healthy fit lifestyle. And you know, I respect that. I don't give a damn about anybody talking about Paul. I didn't grow up in the area of Paul's. You know what I'm saying? Give a dude a compliment. You know what I'm saying? Being in good shape, being around for his kids, living a longer life, and flexing on y'all online with a vest on. You know what I'm saying? No shirt with a vest on. Talking about, man, hey, I know where I'm at. Hey, man, I see you out there, Tough Glove. Hey, no doubt, man. Keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing your thing. But shout out to him. One love to you, brother, for the $5 super chat and supporting WCS. Appreciate you, man. He said, yes, they should unify. Okay, we're going to get to that. We definitely going to get to that. Shout out to the News by Shaw News Sauce Experience Team Tucker official on deck. Salute to you. I see you on deck. Big Blunts and Boxing. What's good with the Blunts? I see you on deck. OG, what's good? What's good with your Blunts? How you feeling, man? So if you read the description, it says, should fighters care about unifying divisions? Is the IBF a rogue sanctioning body and WBC Halo? Now, I'm definitely going to knock that all together in light of what we've been seeing take place with not just professional boxing and the fights that we was able to witness in 2024, but more so what has happened after some of these big fights has taken place. And this is not something that's new. The IBF has been one of those sanctioned bodies that has stood alone, stood and to do their own thing, didn't care what nobody else think. And they've shown that they don't care too much about what people are looking for out here in boxing, like the best fight the best. They don't care nothing about that. What I think they care about is their sanctioning fee and just going along with their own program. You know what I'm saying? On my thumbnail, it says Gervonta Davis' uncanny relationship and fighting for world titles. If you know anything about Tank Davis, he hasn't been out here trying to become undisputed. Because at the end of the day, fighters have to understand that the sanctioning fee is coming off the top. It's coming off the top, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The sanctioning fees are coming off the top. Now, I want to take you to a brief stroll because you know I like reading. You know what I'm saying? I want to take you over here to boxingscene.com. All right. Let me remove this and let's go for a little stroll with boxingscene.com. God damn it. My fault. Hold on for a second. I made a mistake and canceled it out. Hold on for a second. All right, so boxingscene.com. On this article, it's titled "Too Many IBF Leading Contenders Don't Merit Any Ranking, Let Alone Mandatory Status." And I think this is a very important article that's rightly placed at this moment because we have seen certain championship showcases where the IBF just messes up everything we want to happen. You remember the other day I was talking about how fighters should fight rematches and everything like that. You know, I have this question. When they go into these unification bouts, and Tough Glove mentioned that he believed fighters should unify. My question is, will fighters get discouraged? Will promoters, matchmakers get discouraged? How are they not in contact with the sanctioned bodies that are involved in the unification bout? Let me explain. We just seen Oleksandr Usyk beat Fury, and Usyk had already had the unified titles. He had the WBA, IBF, and the WBO, and the IBO, from my understanding, right? So when he beat Tyson Fury, you know, the switch was, the automatic switch would say, hey, we just can't wait for a rematch, right? And then come to find out that the IBF wanted to strip him of the title unless if he don't face his mandatory. And we saying to ourselves, damn, shit ain't automatic no more. Because we've seen Sergey Derevyanchenko back in the day benefit from the IBF's strict policies. They don't play around. And then we've seen with Canelo Alvarez recently. They stripped him of the IBF championship and allow William Skull to become world champion for the first time. And you want to know what the blimp service looked like for William Skull? Oh, they have plenty of slots open. Ain't nobody up there highlighting his name in the skies. I mean, salute to the brother. But you know what I'm saying? The brother is Skull with a C. He different. You know what I'm saying? He is considered a world champion, but I barely hear anybody talking about him. No one's ordering the blimp service to highlight his name, you know, up in the skies for everyone to see. Let's even go a step further as to the reason why Teofimo Lopez potentially didn't fight Devin Haney. Because let's just put it this way. If Teofimo Lopez at the time would have fought Devin Haney, he would have been stripped of his IBF title, which it wouldn't have been for undisputed. It would have been a unified championship. So Teo, who had all the belts except Devin Haney's WBC, he selected to fight his mandatory in George Kambosos. And that's what happened. Then you have to look at the situation that went down with Terrence Crawford at 147 pounds. He become undisputed by defeating Errol Spence, and then not even a good solid 90 days, I don't believe. The paperwork was sent. The IBF says that you have set name amount of days for negotiate to fight Jaron Ennis, knowing that he was locked in. See, when I've been paying attention to this, and I said to myself, damn, it seems like the IBF is extremely self-absorbing. It seems like they are a rogue freaking sanctioning body now. Because how can there not be communication prior to these sanctioning bodies being a part of the championship showcase? How can you go in there and you get a winner and you're up there signing these contracts and you're trying to tell me the promotion, they're unaware if that particular fighter has a mandatory with the IBF? And during the time in between fights, let's say if there's a rematch, you're trying to tell me there's no communication to the point where it's just going to come out the blue? Like, for instance, once again, Spence Crawford had a rematch clause. Was it any type of communication that the IBF was going to strip, Crawford if he didn't fight Jaron Ennis' sudden name? I mean, was that something prior to that they should have known? I believe so. Did they should have known that before Fury and Usyk? Yeah. I'm pretty sure Team Canelo knew that William Skull was lurking in the darkness, and he will have to be a name. Let's get to this article. Too many IBF leading contenders don't merit any ranking, let alone mandatory status. It starts, and the author is Matt Christie. The ranking and policies of the International Boxing Federation, IBF, has come into sharp focus in recent months because the sanctioned body enforcing non-cynical mandatories and kiboshing undisputed championships in the process. In particular, Alexander Usyk at heavyweight and Saul Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight relinquished their IBF belt rather than face an opponent who would not progress their career. And at light heavyweight, Artur Beterbiev might soon become the latest undisputed king to do the same. So I'm just going to briefly bookmark. I didn't mention Beterbiev because I just wanted to lead into, I just wanted the examples that I made previously to lead into this. Beterbiev went in there with Bivol with no rematch clause. There's no rematch clause. So I didn't really mention it. But of course, we seen a fight play out and the fans are tuned in and they say, hey, this would be good for a rematch. So you're trying to tell me that the matchmakers didn't know ahead of time that there was a mandatory in the midst? There had to be prior information that there was a mandatory in the mix, right? And then being that they're not just going through this process for the very first time, they're not tyros at this. They had to know that Beterbiev had a freaking mandatory. So I'm quite confused as to why they go through this and have a fight, no rematch, and then they put out to the fans that, hey, you know what I'm saying, we might potentially get a rematch here between this. It was a hell of a fight. The fans loved it, this, that, and the other, knowing that the IBF has a mandatory lined up for the winner. You know that grandfather clause that they have? Yeah, it's crazy. Let me continue. Though the strict rules of the IBF have long been understood, it's still maddening when they would doubt any self-awareness mere days after all the belts have been unified, put forth their leading contender against whom the champion must defend before a set deadline. The demand would be easier to stomach if the contender in question was long overdue a shot or even just remotely worthy of one. Too often, that is simply not the case. A study of the IBF rankings across the 17 weight class reveals that In at least 6 of them, the organization has some serious explaining to do in regards to their choice for the most deserving. I agree. I agree. So a part of this attachment is when I ask, should fighters, think about unifying? You don't think it's going to be, you know, um, some type of discouragement when it comes to these fighters, and if the IBF title is involved? I mean, if they have to fight, they're mandatory, right? Isn't it something the matchmakers or the promoters is going to have to just buckle down and trying to see how the IBF is moving? Somebody's going to have to make the phone call. I thought the sanctioning body, shit, I thought they was on board. I thought they was on board with the promoters and everything, because they're definitely on board with getting their sanctioning fees. But it seems like regardless of what is considered to be a big fight, it doesn't freaking matter to them. Because it can be a big fight to us, and we can sit up here and praise what we just witnessed all we want. And then all of a sudden, fighters are getting stripped. We think we're going to get a rematch for Undisputed again. But the IBF is rogue. The IBF is going up here, going by their own policies and saying, hey, you can't stop me. I don't care what you feel. We don't work for you. You can't stop me. And that just goes to show you, man, that's what you get when you have a sport that's not regulated. You have everybody doing what the hell they want to do. Heavyweight. Quite why the IBF chose to make the June 1st contest between Daniel Dubois and Philippe Herkovic for the interim title is unknown, when just 2 weeks before, Alexander Usyk had defended the full fat version of the championship against Tyson Fury, gaining undisputed status in the process. Questions, huh? Admittedly, the IBF aren't the only sanctioning body who have no idea what the word interim means. But even so, their subsequent request for Usyk to face Dubois was ludicrous. Acutely aware that Usyk was contracted to a rematch with Fury, the IBF made the demand while being all but certain it could be adhered to. What is that telling you all? That the IBF is on their own program. That's what it's telling me. That's what it's telling me, that the IBF is on their own program. The IBF is demonstrating once again that they don't care what you all are talking about. Regardless of whoever is going to be the mandatory, the interim, or whatever, they're going to get their sanctioning fee. It's almost like they're not a team player, as if boxing is a team. You know what I'm saying? Boxing is not a team sport. You know what I'm saying? It's not a team sport at the end of the day. Like, what I mean by that is it's only one fighter that stepped through the ropes, right? Outside the ropes, you do have somewhat of a team when it comes to the managers and all the moving parts, the shakers and movers, to make those negotiations work and come together so we can get an agreement. I get it. But when it comes to the bigger picture, we deal with the sanctioning body. And the championship sounds so good. I mean, doesn't it? When you look at the decorum, the language of it, it sounds very good. Oh, we got a championship fight. So-and-so's getting a championship fight. But we've seen so many times where the sanctioning bodies let people know that they're calling their own shots. Like, who's in charge of the sanctioning bodies? I know the WBC has a governing body, but who is in charge of the sanctioning body? It's almost like, who can tell them what to do? It's not the commission. It's not the promotion. Who can sit up here and instruct the sanctioning body that, pulling these freaking mandatory fighters out of the blue that doesn't have any high ranking value, any type of notoriety, and definitely when it comes to the barometer of popularity, it is at its lowest score, y'all. They're bringing some guys in here we haven't even heard about. It goes on to say, moreover, Why are they demanding that Usyk face a boxer he defeated as recent as last year? Come on, y'all. Does this sound familiar? Jaron Ennis? Corinne? Same thing, right? My biggest question is, why is the IBF believing that they're doing? I mean, what is the purpose? I mean, what's the purpose, really? I'm asking a legitimate question. Like, what is the purpose of how the IBF is moving? Like, why do you have this mentality now that you're standing out in boxing for the wrong reasons? I'm not saying they're going against any policies because they're the sanctioning bodies. Like, the IBF has always been considered as a strict sanctioning body, but why are you just going against the grain when the sport needs some of these unification bouts to happen again? We need to see them more than once. That's all I'm saying. Like, it would be great to see them more than once. Rather, Michael Eifert, isn't that who? But Arthur Beterbiev is supposed to fight next. Man, I've been looking for Michael Eifert. I heard he's a savage. For real. If you look on Warner Brothers Network, you know what I'm saying? Those of you that still look at cartoons, it was a freaking Tasmanian devil on there named Michael Eifert. Absolute savage. I'm pretty sure y'all know and had Michael Eifert in your top 15. Don't cap. We deal with straight integrity over here. Don't cap. When you look at your all-time greats, first name pop in your top 15, Michael Eifert. Come on, man. Come on now. You know you woke up today talking about, I just can't wait to that Michael Eifert fight. Moving on, cruiserweight. It says, the IBF champion, Jai Opethia, is widely regarded as the best fighter in the division, so no harm done there. However, his leading contender is a 39-year-old Turkish-born German called King Khan. You know? That's who his opponent. You know what I'm saying? I want to say Hussein Sankara, cruiserweight. Yeah. Sankara has a glossy. I like that word right there. I like that, glossy. I like how you putting this language together. I like the wordplay, shouty. He said Sankara has a glossy. You know, back then, those of you that grew up back in the day when we was taking those photos and those Polaroids, and you pull that out, you know, or you got to a point where you can put the files on a card and go to Walgreens, Walmart, any of them, and get those glossy photos. Sankara has a glossy 22-0. 18 coming by way of knockout, y'all. Record, but closer inspection reveals he hasn't defeated anyone. Not a single soul to merit his place in the top 10, much less the top 1. For context, he is unranked by TBRB in the ring. Unranked, y'all. What the hell are they doing? What the hell are they doing? Hey, this is a perfect example why I keep on telling people, like, one of the primary templates in boxing that I can say is, you know, fighters do gloss their record depending on who they are. Some fighters do to build it up, just like we're looking at Sankara. They said this man got 22 victories opposite 0 defeats, 18 stunning knockouts. They say, but closer inspection revealed he hasn't defeated anyone, not a single soul. Talk your shit, boy. Talk. Heavyweight. Now we get into some recent familiarity, right? Last week, about 23 minutes after Artur Beterbiev outscored Dmitry Bivol in a battle for all 4 straps, the IBF confirmed that the undisputed champion next fight should come against Germany's Michael Eifert, 13 and 1, 5 knockouts. Y'all better stop the madness. Y'all better stop the freaking madness. Shout out to Mr. Gumbo in the building. I see you on deck, brother. Arnold Brown in the building. What's good? Ben Israel in the building. What's good with it? Michael Efert, 13 and 1, 5 knockouts, is about to get a shot if Beterbiev selects to keep the belt. Now, we're seeing a lot more of this in boxing, so people shouldn't get angry. It goes on to say, quite what Efert has done to be regarded as a worthy opponent for one of the best fighters in boxing is unclear. Surely a 12-round points win over 79-year-old Jean Pascal last month wasn't enough. Look at this guy. This guy is absolutely, I'm talking about pouring a lot of salt. I know Thanksgiving coming up. Next month. But shout out to you, man. He says 79-year-old Jean Pascal. I thought Luis Ortiz was the oldest fighter in the sport. And then after him was Barroso. But he's putting Pascal up there? Damn. It goes on to say Efert is unranked by TBRB in the ring. Super middleweight, a familiar division, right? When Canelo Alvarez opted to relinquish his IBF title, forfeiting undisputed status in the process, rather than face William Skull, nobody accused the Mexican of running scared. Skull unranked by the ring before he edged Vladimir Shinskin to win the vacant gong last weekend, had done very little to deserve his place atop the IBF 168-pound rankings, and hadn't partaken in a bout scheduled for 12 rounds in more than 2 years, y'all. 2 freaking years right here. Let me highlight that. 2 years. Skull Shinskin was largely ignored by the boxing media because few within the industry viewed it as a worthwhile world title fight. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, man. They didn't see that as a worthwhile fight. Say it ain't so. Next, the welterweight division. Clap it up for the welterweight division. They need to hear your cheers. I think they all sleep over there. You know what I'm saying? I think the night watchman is sleep on duty. Please clap it up for the welterweight division. It says in January last year, Jaron Boots Ennis won every round of 12 on all 3 scorecards against Korean Chudigan in a bout for that pesky interim trinket. It was not an exciting scrap, nor was there a shed of controversy. Ennis, subsequently graded to full IBF champion, was this year ordered to face Chudigan 24-2, 13 knockouts in a sequel nobody, bar the IBF, wants or would ever consider worthwhile. It takes place on November 9th and will be difficult to get even a little bit excited by. Man, talk your shit, man. Talk your shit. He ain't playing around in the holiday seasons, isn't he? This dude right here is up there shooting Santa's reindeer with a slingshot. This dude is a juvenile in this article. No holds barred. It says since losing to Ennis, the Ukrainian, unranked by TBRP, and the ring won 3 bouts against opposition. So middling, it's a genuine mystery how he achieved a number 1 ranking. Talk your shit, boy. Super flyweight, y'all. Ooh, woo. Exciting Argentinian Fernando Martinez merits his status as a world champion, finding himself ranked number 1 in the division by both TBRB and the ring. His leading contender, who sounds like an arch enemy of Harry Potter, is unranked by TBRB and the ring. However, Mexico's Willibaldo Garcia, 22 victories opposite 5 defeats and 1 draw, y'all, hosting 13 knockouts, has not ventured back into world class since losing to Paul Butler 3 years ago. Nor has he ever once competed in a contest scheduled for more than 10 rounds. That is a travesty. That is a travesty. But shout out to the author, Matt Chris, BoxingScene.com, for making us aware of information that we should already know. You know what I'm saying? We should have a good understanding that the IBF is doing what they want to do at this point in time. They're bringing in names. And look, we can go back. We can go back. I'm about to hit you with one. I'm about to hit you. It's going to take you back to good old freaking Texas. You remember when Carlos Ocampo came out of nowhere? The IBF been doing this a long time. They've been showing you, how to hustle. The IBF has been showing the other sanctioning bodies how they hustle look. When they brought Carlos Ocampo in there to fight Errol Spence Jr., all because he had a nice, pretty, glossy-looking record. Spence was having his hometown fight. Jerry Jones is going to be the first time, the Fight Fantasy Jerry Jones supporting Spence. Man, they brought Carlos Ocampo out of the woodshed, y'all. They brought him out of the woodshed to face him. They beautified that record and brought him in there to face Errol Spence, who finished him in the first round. Now, to get back to what I asked earlier, should fighters care about unifying divisions? Okay. To this day, championships, in my opinion, still holds a praising value, stock in the streets of boxing. They do. Championships are not just, trinkets, so to speak, depending on which one you have and who did you beat to get it. Then they'll downgrade the title to something, that they consider to be a trinket. But overall, world championship is great to have. Now, when it comes to unifying, this is where Tank Davis comes into play. I salute Tank Davis for not being a title hog. What I mean by that, Tank is making millions of dollars without being a multiple title holder. I consider that to be pretty smart. Now, I know everybody's going to agree. You know what I'm saying? But you're talking about when he does his negotiations and he only has one title. One is better than two in this case. I know the value of numbers, usually two is better than one, but in this case, one is better than two. And a lot of boxing fans might say, no, they don't make any sense, because I'm speaking about money. I'm speaking about a guy who doesn't have to worry about paying the tab of the IBF, the WBO, or the WBC. He doesn't have to worry about paying that tab. Plus, sometimes a championship, depending on what fighter it is, it boosts their boxing FICO in the professional sport. It boosts their popularity up a little bit now that they're world champion. And also, as we found out, even though it may, for that short period of that short window, boost up their popularity, still is what they do with it. You know what I'm saying? We have seen fighters go in there and defense. Dreamoff wasn't able to keep his title for a long period of time. It's been several fighters who hasn't been able to go on a long reign. But truth be told, when you don't have to pay the sanctioning fees, right? That's even better. But then think about this. Think about how you just won the titles. Let's just say you did unify. And then the IBF sends you a letter saying that you have to fight somebody that's not even considered on your level or not even considered to be a top 15 player. Really. Imagine how that is when you done went through fight camp and did everything you're supposed to do, and you can't even stay undisputed champion for that long because you didn't have any plans of fighting this unknown mandatory challenger that the IBF is throwing up in your face. So then a fighter has to make a decision. Okay, I'll go ahead and fight this person, or I want to get another paycheck. If I'm going back in fight camp and I'm fighting the opponent I just fought, and we can still do it for big dollar, I'm just going to be unified champion instead of undisputed. Then maybe that person will consider that. But then you have to look at the one who says, I'm going to fight the mandatory. It'd be an easy win. But then you don't get as much money as you would if you are, scheduled within the eyes of the consumers to have a rematch. And that's where it gets a little crazy to me. It gets a little crazy how a fighter can do all that to win the undisputed, and then it's not even a solid 90 days, and the IBF is sending you a dead-end letter to say you need to go in negotiations. You have this amount of days to go in negotiation with this fighter, else you'll be stripped of the IBF title. So I'm saying, was this something the fighter knew ahead of time before they went in there and contended for the titles, or something they found out afterwards? I'm curious because we're seeing a trend. We've seen this with Bud. We've seen it recently with Canelo, who already had his titles per se for a minute. Usyk, who won his titles, and automatically they say, hey, so-and-so has to fight a mandatory Michael Eifert. And then we see not Usyk, but Turbiev. We've seen him. They want to say he got to fight Michael Eifert. And then Oleksandr Usyk, they're trying to see if they can, make some arrangements or negotiations for, Fury and Usyk to have an undisputed rematch. But for Tank Davis, do he truly know what the key is, the holding on to your money by basically taking, this time in the first half of his career to fight for minimal titles, but yet make millions? I mean, has he figured it out? Is it somewhat of a genius of what he's being able to do? Be on pay-per-view, not as a multiple champion, but yes, as a multi-division champion, and to make millions without having to pay the sanctioning bodies who don't care about who you are. They're proving that. The sanctioning bodies don't have no type of compassion. They're not going to coddle these fighters. It seems like it's such a disconnect with the IBF. While everybody else is cheering that it may be a potential rematch with a fight that we still talking about, the IBF come up here and really act like they're an adoption agency. The IBF act like they're social workers, man. They up there like they bring these kids that need to be adopted, right? They say, no, I don't want that kid. You don't have no choice. This is the kid we're giving you. No, I didn't ask to adopt that kid. First of all, they're not in the age range, and the kid obviously act like they've been through some trauma. You're not getting it. We're not bringing you a kid to you say you want to adopt a kid, right? We're bringing you one right now. That's like the IBF, the feeling I get with the IBF. They're doing their own thing. It seems like to them, they're going to make their own choices, check their own boxes, and dot their own I's. They could care less about what the consumers are thinking when it comes to these big fights. Let me get to the chat. Once again, salute to Tough Glove Boxing for the donation earlier. Much appreciated. Blunt say the IBF might have some sturdy fighters Korean getting a rematch. The bar beat AJ and Bakram beat Zoo. I don't know why you have what are you saying? The IBF might have some sturdy fighters. I'm not talking about what the IBF has, because anybody can become an IBF champion if they're contending for the champion. But Bakram, I don't look at it like they're having fighters like a promotion. You know what I'm saying, Blunts? I'm not looking at the IBF having fighters like a promotion. I'm talking about their protocol on how they're carrying out the mandatory status, not the type of champions they have. I mean, come on now. Bakram has one defense. I mean, there's nothing sturdy about that, really. You know, we don't know if he's going to be sturdy until he continues to fight some big names. You know, he just has a zoo to his resume. You know what I'm saying? The bar, we already know what's up with that. You know what I'm saying? The bar, I give the bar his nod. He did do what he's supposed to do. But come on, Korean, stop it. Man, stop it, bro. Come on, man. Sturdy. I guess that's a polite name instead of saying glossy. You know, IBF has some glossy fighters. I guess sturdy a better name. But Korean and freaking Bakram, come on now. Gumbo say, salute at WCS. Salute to you, big dog. And William Scholes just picked up the IBF strap. He was a plus 120. I might have to start betting on IBF. I mean, you know, didn't nobody really know who was going to win that fight because they was unfamiliar with both fighters pretty much. But that's not even what I'm talking about. My process is more so the protocol on how the IBF go about, you know, just bringing in these names, just like the article stated. How do they go about bringing in these names that no one knows? And they're basically disrupting a big fight. We want to see some rematches here. Rematches, you go down in history a bit better. What if you have a change of titles, which leads to a trilogy? I mean, why can't we just have a full-blown, you know, negotiation rematch? And then to think that these fighters not having a rematch make you wonder. It makes you wonder, right? I mean, didn't they say Fury and Usyk had a rematch? Didn't they say that? And then right when Usyk wins the undisputed, they said that he has a rematch. I mean, he has a freaking mandatory, IBF mandatory. This wasn't discussed previously. Honor Brown said, okay. Honor Brown, W said, salute to you, brother. The Tough Glove Boxing with the $5 super chat and a cash app, man. Thank you, my brother, for supporting the channel. You know what I'm saying? One love to you, big dog. Continue to do what you do. Ben Israel on deck. IBF is looking kind of suspect for that BS Boots fight. Look, it's no way I'm going to be supporting IBF basically representing. It's almost like Korean lost, the IBF repackaged him and sent him up looking the same way he did the first fight, but at a different time. Oh, guess what? The IBF mandatory is Korean Chuling. Ain't nobody co-signing that. Nobody's co-signing no Korean Chulikin. Nobody, at least me, is co-signing a Bakram. And I don't know. Look, I don't know about a Bakram because at the end of the day, he has to get some defenses down and he has to face somebody that is you know, that's considered equal to greater than him. Tim Tszyu was supposed to be equal, but he went in there with the wrong game plan and looked feeble instead of equal. Shout out to UGC Flame in the building. I see you, man. What's good? Appreciate you pulling up. stop hating on Tank. I'm a Tank fan. What are you talking about? See, see, Ben, when you over here, it made me want to have a psychiatrist on deck. You know what I'm saying? It made me want to, see if I can call up one of my people on the contacts so they can do some pro bono work. But most of the time, my chat's good. It's just when you come over here, I'm a Tank fan. What I'm saying up here with Tank is that I believe he has the whole dynamic figured out, him and his team. Tank was the WBA the WBA regular title holder prior to the titles being relinquished by Devin Haney. When they was going to elevate Tank Davis at the WBA, he put out a text. He put out a tweet, rather, and said he didn't want that shit. He said that. I'm a Tank fan. Of course, everybody's not going to agree with me on that, but I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, how many of these boxers you have to see outside the sport when they're past their prime, they're broke. They don't have no retirement plan. And then there's a lot of people who haven't had the opportunity to interview these guys. These guys show the signs of damage during the period of time they competed. They show the slurred speech, the early stages of pugilistica, or whatever stages they in. You know what I'm saying? Pausing, just like Joe Joyce did during the interview. That happens. But yet you have people that saying it should be title driven. Yeah, you can have a title and still not make big money. Perfect example, Teofimo Lopez. He's been on record as saying that he hasn't made $1 million a fight, but yet he was undisputed in franchise with the franchise belt, but he didn't make $1 million as the champion. Maybe if he would have defended him, if he would have defended him against Kambosos, I don't know if they would have stayed at 135 because they said they had been in the division for too long already. Even when he fought Lomachenko, he said he didn't get $1 million. You're talking about a multi-title holder at 16 fights in the game, and he couldn't get over $1 million for that unification. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. Come on, bro. TGB said, I never considered that about Tank, not having to pay extra money. If he unifies his sanctioning body fees, would be ridiculous. Oh yeah, his freaking sanction fees would be extremely crazy. And see, I was hoping I reached out to one of a team member that I communicate with on the regular. I was hoping he pull up. You know what I'm saying? I really wanted to chop it up because he keeps it all the way authentic. You know what I'm saying? About the situation. Some certain things we talk about offline and everything. But I was really hoping he pulled up. They busy over there. You know what I'm saying? People be running gyms and stuff. I really wanted him to get on here and chop it up. You know what I'm saying? Talk about the Tank. But that's why I was getting at TGB and everybody else in the chat. When I put the thumbnail up there about Gervonta Davis, his uncanny relationship. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by that, in fighting for world titles, people complaining about Tank not fighting names or for multiple world titles. But yet, they was criticizing Tank for telling Turki Al-Sheikh to send him 2 Ferraris. And the reason why Tank felt he can do that, he said, I'm making the money over here that they're going over there to make. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's Tank's mentality. Tank say, I'll stay a 1 title champion because when it comes time for me to cut that check, when it comes time for them to cut that check, when I have to do the payout, I'm not just throwing away money to multiple sanctioning bodies. I'll just take care of my single sanctioning body and stack the rest of my cheese, and I'm good. Instead of going around here, just look at all the unified title holders. What more do they get when they're holding a title? Like, let's put it this way: Beterbiev coming off a big win over Bivol. Didn't he have to pay for them sanctioning fees, if I'm not correct? Then Turbiev has to pay for those sanctioning fees for those titles. So has Turbiev's value risen as a undisputed champion since his fight? Like, do they, like, you would think that they would get extra amenities after they win, but they don't. It's not like they have residual income, in between fights leading up to their next one. It's not like they have speaking engagements and they get paid based off the championship titles that they have. That's my biggest question. Like, what is the overall benefit of these champions picking up multiple titles besides legacy? Now, of course, legacy. Okay, cool. But how does it benefit them financially outside of bragging rights? Because one thing about Tank, it just seems like Tank will continue to go out here and fight who he wants on a pay-per-view and make millions. He is not a fighter that's up here saying I have made over $1 million. But yet people brag about how Teofimo Lopez has more titles to his resume, so to speak, kind of, sort of, right? And what he's been able to accomplish and what Tank didn't accomplish at 135. But yet Tank has grossed more money than Teofimo. And he has only been a WBA regular title holder until the titles was released from Devin Haney. It's crazy, ain't it? It's crazy. Tank is the super duper quadruple A side to the entire sport of boxing. Well, one thing about WCS, I never you misread the thumbnail. Gervonta Davis, uncanny. Okay. The way he looks at the sanctioning bodies is just the entity he has to pay money out to. I think it's very smart for him to go about making the money. Because look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I know some people, you know what I'm saying? I've heard and I respect, the feedback some people have about Tank and who he hasn't fought and who they would like him to fight. I get it, man. Much respect. But also I look at him understanding and putting out to the general public that he don't plan on staying in boxing for an extended period of time. And so in order for him to just say, okay, I want to get out of boxing and pretty much stay out of boxing, I have to make the most money possible. The most money possible. Don't you think that's smart? It may not sound smart, but you said, I said, everybody else has said, boxing is a business, right? So if boxing is a business first, is titles a part of the business when you retire? Or is money a part of the business while you was an active fighter that's going to benefit you the most when you're no longer part of the sport? Which is it? Which is it? Is the titles part of the business? Is the titles going to earn you residual income once you hang up the gloves? Or that paycheck that you receive that's in your account? I'm pretty sure, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure that's going to stretch way a bit longer than you unwrapping a belt and showing some family members and cousins and step uncles. You know what I'm saying? Some new neighbors. Hey, I know you see me out here begging for food, but did you know I used to be world champion? Yeah, let me take it inside, man. Hey, while I'm going here getting this belt, do you have any non-perishable items for me? I just give me a care package, man. But I'm gonna show you my title, man. And get that care package together. No, Tank ain't trying to do that. That's why I say they understand it. When I mean uncanny, it's not in a bad way. It's pretty much saying he has it figured out. That he's not going out here trying to unify all these titles. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think if Tank fought Shakur right in 2025, he beat Shakur and became the WBA and the WBC title holder. I don't think he's gonna keep that title. That's the one thing I like about the sanctioning bodies. Once you win the title, you don't get penalized for dropping the belt. Once again, reiterate, if Tank Davis is making millions with just a WBA belt, do you think he's going to really care about a WBC belt? He's going to drop it because the WBC belt is not going to bring him any more money when people already know that he was the unified champion. It's not going to bring him any more money at negotiations. Who he is as a fighter is going to bring him that money. Just like Ben said. I mean, this is a miracle. I think this is the first time ever I will actually agree with Ben. And I'm sober. He's the A side to a lot. Nobody's coming in there with a fight with Gervonta Davis, trying to bully them and all that. No, he's going to be the A side to the A side for a long time. And Ben, he's undefeated. He's still a knockout artist. He's going in here, pay-per-view, and showing the boxing fans that he's a main attraction. The people are still going to go see him fight. That's all I'm saying. He's the ace. I don't know what Ben is talking about. The hate for Tank has no boundaries. If they're talking about Lamont Roach, I mean, that comes with the territory. You know? That comes with the territory. The hate is always going to knock at the door. But you have to look at how certain fighters are moving. And I commend Tank and his team for how they're moving without multiple titles. Serious. They're moving without multiple titles and still making millions. Ryan Garcia, moving without titles and still making millions. I don't know how long it's going to last with the people who don't have a title, but that just goes to show you boxing, the business of boxing, is different for certain fighters. The IBF interrupting, a 2-fight bonanza where we just came off seeing a heck of a fight, and we'd definitely like to see Bivol and Beterbiev go back in there for an immediate rematch. And then Michael Eifert comes into play. Michael Eifert comes into play, y'all. We just finished looking at Bivol, Beterbiev in a hard 12. Donnybrook. And then the news break that the IBF is ordering Beterbiev to defend his title against Michael Eifert. Come on, bro. Come on, that's crazy. For real, that's crazy. And people are going to find some way to make sense about it. I know Tank is a topic of discussion when it comes to Lamont Roach, but y'all need to call ceasefire. Ceasefire. Because you got to understand that there's no one ingredient to the business of boxing. There's multiple ingredients that you put in to the business of boxing. And that's why some people only have an acquired taste for certain fighters benefiting from the business. Canelo Alvarez, yes, he's able to make nice, handsome paychecks fighting fighters that we don't want to see him fight. You know what I'm saying? There are different dynamics to the business of boxing. You have Canelo that's able to do that. You have Tank that's able to do that. But look, you can say what you want, but you have fighters that are benefiting off stepping in there with Tank Davis, who have since went on to be champions, who've elevated themselves. Rolly Romero. People up here talking about, his resume sucked and all that. But yet, when he was going in there with Tank, you had people up here talking about he was going to knock Tank out. Rolly up here telling people to bet they whole trailer park. Bet the whole trailer park. How many homes they have on? 30? Yeah. Tell the owner, tell the landowner. Bet every damn trailer on there. I guarantee you're gonna make your money. Come on now. Dude was hanging in the ropes like he just flew into a spider web. But he went on to 140 to become champion, right? Another fighter, Esau Cruz, benefited from going the distance. Finally moved up and fought the coming opponent of Tank Davis. Beat him up. Became champion. I mean, it's people that's benefiting. Ryan Garcia benefiting from going in there fighting Tank. Frank Martin, the jury's still in deliberation to see if he's benefiting. But since I'm on Frank Martin, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I see him out there doing his thing in the streets. But Frank Martin did warn Lamont Roach that the running is not going to help. And it kind of, you know what I'm saying? It kind of made me giggle a little bit. I say now Frank Martin is giving warnings. Hey, Frank Martin is giving warnings to Lamont Roach. That God bless you with 10 toes, but please don't use them to run away from Tank. Because goddamn it, not only the 10 toes is going to start getting tired, but your goddamn ankles, your calf, your shin, your hamstring, your thighs, your hip bone. You know what I'm saying? That's going to start to fatigue. And he's up here trying to tell Lamont Roach that he need to make sure he's in shape and don't think that running shit. I mean, at least he knows now that he had a game, you know what I'm saying? And he went in there and he employed that game plan as much as he possibly could, and he still got stopped. You know? So I will say this. This is nothing new with the IBF. But unfortunately, there is always going to be disappointment with the sport of boxing. And you know, even though I'm talking about the IBF, this live stream, the WBC has always been one of those, you know, rogue type of sanctioning bodies, even when it came to their fighters testing positive for shit. But on the flip side of that, Mauricio has proven once again that the sanctioned bodies move on their own accord. It's like when you don't have a boxing commission overall, a governing body or a ruling authority or whatever you want to call it, you have the sanctioned bodies out here just working as independent entities and making their own decisions. And it's like they just walk into a fight like the fighter's a champion, right? I think out of all the entire night, the most easiest, satisfied people on that evening leading up to that fight is the sanctioning body. Because, I mean, what does a sanctioning body have to do? I mean, think about it. They don't have to do too much of anything, bro. The sanctioning body is straight. They're going to get their pay first. Yeah, it don't take them much energy to put that belt for that fighter to have that belt on their shoulder. But they're getting paid at the end of the day. Guarantee that shit. They are getting paid. Shout out to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, some more of the OG in the building. What's good with it, Bruce? How you feeling, man? So that's the way I look at it when it comes to the sanctioning bodies. I want to say this about Mauricio Suleiman too, on how, you know, I remember when he was on here on the YTC and they tried to call the man racist. And listen, you know, Mauricio's a made man. His dad was in the game. He's a made man, you know. But at the end of the day, Mauricio did have a bit of empathy for Mal Charlo when he was out going through his shit. You know, even though that freedom belt looked all the way racist, like it was straight out of the Django movie, Roots, 12 Years a Slave. He did say, hey, we're gonna see him through this. We're gonna see him through this. Period. We're gonna see him through this. We're gonna make sure he get through this, and that's that. I commend him. I commend him for that. But when he was arrested for the hit and run and all that, Mauricio said, I can't help you no more. Carlos Adames, congratulations. He's doing what he wants. I mean, they say that the title holder is supposed to defend within a certain period of time, right? So this is why I'm trying to mash all this together, right? So if they supposed to defend, or else they're going to be stripped, why doesn't the IBF have that same compassion that the WBC have in certain cases? The WBC is always just coming out the blue. It's almost like, they'll let two fighters go in there and fight for unification. But then they'll automatically throw the whole toolbox in the game and say, no, we want so-and-so to fight. Goddamn, Corey Willingham from Target. He worked back in the stock department. He has a freaking record of 4 fights, 2 of them by loss. And he's a killer, has 0 knockouts. He be beating up, he beat up boxers all day long back in the stock room. That's the IBF. They don't fucking care, bro. But I think Mauricio Suleiman does sometimes. He does. I think so. I think he does, bro. I know he care about Canelo because Canelo has like 20 different belts, special belts from fighting on Cinco de Mayo and Independence and all that, man. He make him some beautiful belts, WBC belts. But hopefully y'all got something from this. And I know the Tank Davis saga is going to continue. You know what I'm saying? There's going to continue on this freaking social media. There's going to be individuals that attempt to find fault as to why he's fighting Lamont Roach. But come on now. If you're fit for duty to talk about the sport, understand one thing. This is not the first time. Like we just wasn't about to see Shakur Stevenson fight Cardina, a former 130 pounder. Come on, bro. Y'all are just anxious to have some drama throughout the holidays. You don't have Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford to basically speak on this year. You don't have it. That's not even the topic of the conversation. You really don't have David Benavidez to speak about because, even though you want to talk, but you don't have anything to go off as far as seeing them step in the ring yet. You have to wait to 2025 to see Benavidez and Morrell. I mean, who y'all gonna hate on during the freaking holiday? You got Ennis, Corinne, November 9th. Who y'all gonna hate on? That's worth y'all hating on. Who? I mean, hey, you boxing fans, you're going to be extremely freaking bored on this holiday season because you can't go up here and think you're going to talk about Tank the whole holiday. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the whole Thanksgiving, you up there pissed off. People like, hey, man, go get something to eat. No, man, shit. Man, that Tank, he fighting Lamont Roach, man. Who is that? Who is Tank? You playing Minecraft again? Man, ain't talking about no video game, dog. Stop cracking jokes, man. Oh, I thought you was talking about video games, man. Call of Duty and some shit. No, man, I'm talking about boxing. I'm just saying, man. 22, 21 to 22, 22 to 23, and 23. The 24, has some banter going on it. You know what I'm saying? It has some real entertaining, interesting banter. But this year, 24 to 25, oh my God. It's going to suck, yo. Well, I know we got some heavy fights in December. We got some heavy fights in December, but, those are fights that already happened. Like I said, people are going to be griping during the Thanksgiving holidays because, they're going to want to, talk about Tank Davis and who they think he should fight in 2025. And if he don't fight and who they believe he should fight in 25. He need to retire. They're gonna be on here on some dumb shit. You know, who else is out there? Who else is out there? I mean, we can't really bring in Omaha Monster until we figure out what he got going on. Who else can be talked about during the holidays? I know somebody was talking about Deontay Wilder coming back in 2025 and possibly fighting at a weight division lower than heavyweight. I'm curious to see if it has any truth to it, you know. Definitely looking forward to the 154-pound division in 25. 135-pound division in 25. That welterweight division, I don't know what to say about it. Real talk. I can't even. I'm not even gonna haze myself talking about that. I'm not gonna do it. I'm looking at 35, 154. Don't know what the hell's going on at 40. Hey, if anybody in the chat walk past the 140-pound division, hey, tap on the window and see if the night watchman's up. It should be 2-man posts. See if both of them in there sleeping, man. For real. Because they might have been the same watchman that was at 160 for that long period of time. I heard they suffered extreme anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Just being there. They start to see. They start to hallucinate. As if fights was actually going on. And when nothing was nothing. They start hearing voices like it was negotiations. Nothing. I'm just saying. It's nothing going on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Cruiserweight, Job Pathaya, you know, he's trying to bring some energy to cruiserweight, you know. But we don't know what's up next for 68, but at least we got the Benavidez Morel fight coming up, you know, in 75. We sending the freaking the squad out, the search and recovery team out to 60 and 47, you know, to see what's going on there, see if the night watchmans are up. Yeah, it's pretty shaky, bro. We do have Bam Rodriguez fighting on the Ennis undercard, so we got that to stand, you know, before the holiday season. We got Jahad Tucker November 2nd. You know, he's stepping back in the ring to continue the climb till he get his title shot. Shout out to his little brother Molly. You know, I seen the clips out there. He was in Top Rank Gym. Shout out to $1 Million Molly. Team Tucker. I don't know, man. There's not much going on. I want to send a shout out to Chris Cyborg. She went in there and beat Pacheco in a 5-round unanimous decision, a bloody fight. But you know, that's the GOAT right there. She was champion in the UFC, Bellator, and now PFL, y'all. She was champion in the UFC, Bellator, and the PFL. And she was champion in kickboxing. You know what I'm saying? Chris Cyborg, man, come on. And I believe she was champion. Let me check this out before I say it. And I think she was champion in Strikeforce, if I'm not mistaken. For real. I keep up with this shit. Let me see. Where you at? Where were you at, man? Okay. So I know she beat up my girl. Gina Carano back in the day. Was it for a championship? Yeah. So even though these promotions have dissolved, Chris Cyborg beat Gina Carano. I remember it was one I was missing. She beat Gina Carano for Strikeforce, and she became 145-pound featherweight champion. Also, the Bellator champion is now dissolved, and she's a PFL, and she's just became the PFL champion. Wow, 4 promotions, yo. Crazy. Crazy. People have to understand that when they start comparing women and greatest woman, if you're talking about strictly boxing now, come on, you're talking about strictly boxing. But when you talk about a champion at Strikeforce, UFC, Bellator, and the PFL, what? What? Come on, man. She got somewhat a freaking resume like Eddie Alvarez, the Underground King. But I just thought I wanted to throw that out there, y'all. You know what I'm saying? 122 and 130 is looking good. 126 is looking good also. The show, we have to see, how those divisions play out, since they're TGB. Let's go down to 130 right quick. Because I know some names that we have at 130, but it's all about them not even being in the talks. So first of all, dealing with Conceição and Shockey Foster, that controversial fight. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that. Shockey Foster say he's going to throw more punches. And of course, Lamont Roach is moving up to fight Tank Davis, And Emmanuel Navarrete is already, I think, a 3-division champion, if I'm not mistaken. 3 or 4 division champion. So, yeah, he's always going to be a threat. I'm not sure if he's looking to unify anytime soon. 126, we have Shushu that said he want to fight Anui. Anui is still at 122, but I just threw that out there because he believes he's ready now. You know what I'm saying? But Brandon Figueroa is the WBC champion right now in the WBC. And then, of course, we just seen Nick Ball, do his thing. I think he defended his chip. Angelo Leo, a fighter who Stephen Fulton defeated when he was at super bantamweight. He is the IBF champion at 126. And then Rafael Espinosa, of course, we seen that, man, that Dolly Brook. Come on, man. Between him and Robisa Ramirez in the first fight. You know what I'm saying? That was a hell of a freaking fight. But right behind Robisa Ramirez is Bruce Carrington. So yeah, TGB is on, yeah. This division has a lot of potential. It just needs to get that spark to it. But you're right, man. Now, 122, I'm just not going down to 122 because it's just nothing going on. I know MJ wants his, title shot again with Anui. It is what it is, man. I mean, he was almost there. He just was defeated. And then that's when Anui came up after beating Stephen Fulton, and he went in there and beat the fighter who beat MJ for his unified titles. I think it was Marlon Tapales, right? I think it was Marlon Tapales. But yeah, Marlon Tapales beat MJ. Yeah, good shit. The rematch with Espinosa and Ramirez is going to be great. Yeah, for sure, for sure. I agree with that. I like Robisa Ramirez, Eltran. I like Eltran, man. Shout out to Coach Larry Wade, the best in the game. Shout out to Coach Larry Wade, man. Espinosa, man, dang. He used his height very well against freaking Ramirez, too. I was there for that fight. That was a hell of a fight, man. Shout out to both fighters. Warriors like it's cool, man. You go through a war like that, man. You got to go back in the locker room and process it all. Once the adrenaline starts to subside and you just relax a little bit, get that breathing down. You have to deal with team, family. Yeah, man, it's wild. You know what I'm saying? It's wild. But I agree with you on that, man. Espinosa and Ramirez is going to be great. No doubt about that, Blunts. But once again, I want to tell y'all to probably, make sure you follow me on X, World Combat SPO, SPO, 1 at the end. Okay. Yeah, I really want to start getting up and talking, you know what I'm saying, talking about some boxing topics on X. It's a bit more open-ended when it comes to, you know, how you can express yourself and everything. That doesn't mean it's going to be all out verbal verbal warfare on there, but I'm just saying, you know, it's no chat. It's just conversation where, you know, people can come into your spaces and talk. And, you know, every space, you know, those spaces over there on X ain't for everybody, according to the topic. But that's how it's ran. But hey, big shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and game. Once again, thanks TGB, Tough Glove Boxing. Be sure to check him out. Thanks for supporting the channel as always. Thanks for everyone who pull up and support. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Blunts, you know, for that navigation. He already know what it is. You know what I'm saying? And till next time, y'all hold it down. Peace. I'm out.